Hello, my friends. You know what it means when you see this background on any of my videos. It's time to talk about what nobody ever wants to talk about, which of course is death, dying, survivorship, all those things that we talk about in two of my books, He Hit the Clouds Running and Never Looked Back, and MyFinalFootprints.com. Both my books are free, of course, on that website. Let's think in terms of how many people do you know right now who are on hospice care? They're actually in a hospice facility, they're in hospice care, and they're in the hospital. They're in rehabilitation centers for whatever their condition is. And then, of course, how many funerals have you gone to in the last year? And first of all, I always say in both of my grief books, we're not getting out of this alive. And it's still so hard to take. And I actually made postcards in 2017. I made actual postcards, what to say and what not to say when someone has died. So, of course, I kicked that up a notch now, and I use AI, artificial intelligence sites, to help with some of that. So, just because I asked my assistant, what are some common grief cliches? They're in a better place. Everything happens for a reason. God needed another angel. At least they lived a long life. And for many of us, some of our friends and family have died that did not live long, in my opinion. Time heals all wounds. I have yet to see that particular healing topic. They're watching over you now. At least they're no longer in pain. It was their time. He or she wouldn't want you to be sad. You'll see them again someday. Be strong. You have to move on. I know exactly how you feel. He or she lived a full life. At least you have other children or family. God doesn't give us more than we can handle. Everything happens according to God's plan. Now you have a guardian angel. Look on the bright side, and death is just a part of life. My gosh. And again, I asked for cliches, not accurate terms or really what to say. But in my experience, it's just your turn. I promise I hate that, but it's just your turn. And many times people have said, well, death always comes in threes. So if it's the first death in your life, your network, your community, you're going, yikes, that means two more. If it's your third death, you kind of go, yay, I'm finished. And if it's your second and they've all been equally traumatic, it's like, no, I'm not doing this again. So death comes in threes. Ugh. Okay, we're not in charge of that. So, of course, it's just your turn took me to the next step of the grief cliches with my assistant. And then I got to supportive alternatives to grief cliches. Instead of saying, and again, this comes from my assistant, instead of saying they're in a better place, try, I'm so sorry you have to go through this. I know how much you love them. Instead of saying everything happens for a reason, try, oh, this doesn't make any sense. I'm so sorry. I wish I had the right words. Just know I care deeply. Instead of saying God needed another angel, try, their life was such a gift. I'm grateful I got to know them. I'm praying for peace and comfort for you right now. Instead of saying, at least they lived a long life, try saying, no matter how long we have someone, it's never enough. Losing someone we love is always hard, no matter their age. I'm sure that is true for a lot of us. Instead of time heals all wounds, try. Take all the time you need. I'm here for you. That's comforting to a lot of people. Or grief is a process and I'll walk through it with you. Instead of be strong, try You do not have to hold it together for anyone. It's okay to fall apart. This is probably a biggie from a standpoint of everybody's like big and tough and strong and I can handle anything. Well, that's fine. For those of us who are believers, I can do all things through Christ. And if we didn't have him for support, where would we go? I get that. But from a standpoint of it's okay to fall apart, boom, it is. Whatever you're feeling is valid and you're not alone. And then instead of he or she wouldn't want you to be sad, I always think in terms of how do you know what he or she would want? It's okay to miss them and cry. Your love for them shows in your grief. So it validates the tears. You honor them by feeling deeply, and that's called love. And then instead of, I know exactly how you feel, try, I can't imagine what you're feeling, but I am here to listen. Everyone grieves differently. I just want to be present for you. Again, my friends, what to say and what not to say when someone has died is one of the chapters in my first grief book I have written to now. Again, they're free. This is not a sales pitch. MyFinalFootprints.com has both my grief books on it. And I literally did what to say and what not to say when someone has died. I'm sorry for your loss. Personally, makes me nuts because I did not lose them. They died. If I lost them, I could find them again, and I do not have that option. So that has always been oh my gosh, first and foremost on my brain because it really even now makes me nuts. But people mean well. They bring over chocolate cake and peace lilies and all those things, and you want neither probably. And it's back to that same drill. Everyone grieves differently. So please be aware, all the folks that we have now in hospice care, in hospice facilities, on hospice procedures, protocol right now, people that are in the hospital, just drive by any hospital. It's not like there's empty places to park, which probably means there's not empty rooms either. There's plenty of folks in the hospital if you want to go visit. And of course, one of my favorite things is to literally accidentally leave a little Jesus around when you're going to visit someone, and a little Jesus now is in their room. So everyone needs a little Jesus, right? And you think in terms of, it's just your turn. Why is this happening to me? I hate this. This is terrible. I appreciate that. I promise I do. And that's why some of these cliches from my assistant, um, people don't know better as far as what to say and what not to say yet. And the more we do the education piece, the more comfortable people get with the death and dying process, maybe the better off all of us will be. MyFinalFootprints.com is my gift to you. And after you've read the first book, He Hit the Clouds Running and Never Looked Back, I offer you a Cathy Weaver version of a PhD DD, which is personally having dealt with death degree for having walked through part of my journey with me. A few years ago, I had 3 deaths within 3 months, big deaths if you can actually do degrees. And you think in terms of there's not a good death and a bad death, probably. A lot of times when people have been suffering, oh, thank goodness he's no longer suffering. That's great. But from a standpoint of bam, 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 you just get hit with one travesty. And then all of a sudden you get that phone call and you're like, oh my gosh. And then you get another phone call. It's like double, oh my gosh. So please, again, be patient. People are going through all kinds of stuff. Sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't see it. But again, just be patient, and myfinalfootprints.com is my gift to you. Thank you again, my friends. Bye for now.